Welcome to the Octavius Gould Experience, and I am your host, Octavius Gould. And I have the pleasure of having as a guest one of my dear friends who I've known for decades. I won't tell you how many years because it's going to age both of us. So she looks 20 years younger than I do, even though we're the same age. But I have with me today Beth Singletary, who is the owner of Visions Hair Salon in Lumberton, New Jersey. Beth, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Octavius. How are you? Thank you for having me today.
Beth, I am so excited to have you on this podcast. That's why I'm smiling so hard, because as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we've known one another for decades, but we go back to what I want to say fourth grade.
Yes.
Well, it is so nice to have you on the podcast again. So for my audience,
for the invite.
Today we're going to talk about entrepreneurship. As I mentioned, Beth is the owner of Vision Hair Salon in New Jersey. And we'll start with, Beth, what drove you to get into entrepreneurship and to start your business?
I think that I've always had that sense of independence at entrepreneurship, and I was dating someone in the military, and he's like, "Hey, what you want to do?" And I said, "I think I want to go to beauty school." I went, he supported me. I ended up marrying him 35 years later. And we've had the salon now for 24 years. And I figured that it was either going to be a beauty salon or a laundromat. And it just happened to be a beauty salon.
And what motivated you to select the beauty salon over the laundromat? What went into that decision-making process for you?
I think it was the money and helping people and touching people. You know, I always, with the hair salon, I could be more creative than at the laundromat. So I said, okay, well, we can try both, but it just happened that I just stuck with the hair.
Well, obviously,
I think I can go there, get my coins, and leave.
Well, you made the right choice because you said you've been in business for how many years? 20 what?
24 years.
That is very impressive. And it's even more so impressive, Beth, because as you know, the failure rate of entrepreneurship is extremely high, especially in the first year.
Yes.
What were some of the challenges you faced as a new entrepreneur year one that you had to overcome to be successful?
Year one, I would say getting employees, trying to get that staff, build that staff up, looking for an accountant because everyone was saying, hey, you don't need an accountant, H&R Block. And I knew that was very important to have. That was a challenge. And also I would say missing out on things with family and friends because first year, you have to put that time in.
Now, on social media, people are flying on jets year one and they're profitable week one. So did you really go through some adversity year one? And what do you mean by missing out on things? Elaborate on that a little bit more as well.
I think weekends, the salon, the hours are usually Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. You work. So Saturdays are the busiest time where we all know there's birthday parties on Saturdays, weddings on Saturdays. Then on Sundays and Mondays, you have to go get products. You have to talk to distributors. You have to do interviews. So your time is spent before you even get it. Like you have a commitment and a schedule that you have to do. That's another part of the job other than just doing work. I think that family didn't understand that, hey, you don't put the time in. It's 24/7, and there's a balance in it when it comes to family. And I think the first 2-3 years, I couldn't make it to certain events. And then now that I've made it and crossed over, I take the time out to do things with family. And with the staff situation, that was hard because it's a new business, and who wants to work somewhere that's starting out? And a lot of girls were just starting out. They didn't want to go through that struggle with you, with that mistakes and corrections and stuff, because it was, I didn't know too much about running a business, you know?
Mhm. When you were getting acclimated as a founder of your own business, what are some of the things you committed to learn and build your business acumen and get better at being an owner and understanding what it is? Because one of the things that I've learned as an entrepreneur and also coaching entrepreneurs is the biggest challenge with people is they don't know what they don't know. So how did you build your acumen and learn your business, but also being an entrepreneur?
Wow. I think that the first thing was I had to educate myself with one, taxes. I tell everyone you have to have an accountant, certified accountant. And then I had to put in a plan on what I needed to make from each chair, what I needed to balance my living, and then also with the salon living. So I had to go to hair shows, and the hair shows, instead of learning about hair, I was in there learning about finances, learning how to, because everyone that I knew always had a salon. They were committed to the salon, and then they were having issues with the IRS. And I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't in that percentage of people that had problems with the IRS. And it goes back to your other question about the jets and stuff. You better keep everything in order and on paper, because the government doesn't play.
Yeah.
And they'll wait until you get to a certain level, and then you'll be saying, okay, 4 or 5 years ago, this, and they want to see everything in paper and writing. So I knew that I had to make sure that all those things were in order, and educated myself. And I didn't have what the young ladies have now, or entrepreneurs have now, where you can go and Google the things that you need for your state license, salon license, your because wasn't aware that in the state of New Jersey, if you don't have cosmetology license, you can still own a salon.
Mhm. That's interesting. And you touched on
Yeah.
a very important point as it relates to technology and access to information. Anyone who's looking to start a business today, all of these aspiring entrepreneurs can just log onto their computer and really ascertain so much information that can get them so much further ahead when you started your business 2 decades ago, as well as when I started my business 2 decades ago. Because I wish I would have Googled something about Uncle Sam, because he came knocking on my door after year one.
I know that's right.
But I didn't make that mistake thereafter,
Right,
because you,
right.
you you learn as you go. And that's the one thing about being an entrepreneur. Back when we started our businesses and we didn't have access to that information, as it relates to some of the requirements and regulations around owning a brick and mortar. Because when I started my business, I started it out of a spare bedroom, a home office from day one. So I didn't have to worry about some of the things that you had to focus on and go through when you started
Yeah.
your salon as a brick and mortar. What were some of those things that hit your plate that surprised you when you started your business?
You have to get certified, and with the name, that was one that was a little complicated, because we had one name and then they said somebody else had that name, so you had to change that. And I think the other part was square footage part, where the chairs had to be so many feet from each other, inches from each other. The bathroom had to be handicapped. The What's it, your schedule, your hours have to be posted on the door. The girls' licenses have to be posted on the door. The fire extinguisher. But I know from state to state is different. New
Okay.
Jersey and California are one of the hardest states to open up a salon because of all the rules. and regulations. And thank goodness that at the time we went in, I kind of knew people that knew people. So it was right away when it came with scheduling for inspections. That's another thing when you're inspecting, you have to be present. The owner has to be present. The stylist has to be present with all your information. And it was complicated, but I think that if you keep yourself focused on it, nothing is easy, but there is an easy part at the end. If you get it done right, it makes it easier than doing it the wrong way in the beginning, which I know you know.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
better to start out doing it right than doing it wrong.
Hey,
You have to go back and do it right, you know?
so true. So true, Beth. One of the things you talked about was the fact that you had to work on the chair situation, something
Yeah.
I didn't have to worry about as an entrepreneur. Tell me a little bit about that, because I know that can get really touchy. And just talking
Yes.
to different entrepreneurs who I've met at trade shows or networking events who are in similar businesses as yourself, I've heard that that chair dynamic can get really dicey.
Yes, you have to have, I'm not good on it. My husband was really good at making sure that the square footage. So I think I had like 1,600 square feet.
Mhm.
And I had 9 stations.
Okay.
I had 23 girls. So I had to have, for each stylist, every 3 stylists, you had to have one assistant. Then I had to have a receptionist. Now the laws are totally different. You don't
Okay.
even have to have an assistant anymore or a receptionist, because they changed the laws to go with the younger generation, where now they do these booth rentals.
Okay.
Like Atlanta. Atlanta has booth rentals. DC has booth rentals, and then they do the salon suites. So my type of salon has pretty much been maybe, so I don't know, type of commitment or opportunity, only because of all the other opportunities. You have the mom and pop salons,
Mhm.
then you have the suites, which are individual rooms that you pay someone
Okay.
a price to rent out this small room. And then you have the commercialized type of salons like hair cuttery, Mr. Cuts and stuff like that, that are usually corporate, you
Okay.
know. So we're kind of like the dying part of the industry. My type of salon, where I own my building. You know, I bought this building. I left that salon and bought my own building. And I have now downsized. Instead of 23 girls, I only have 4 girls,
Okay.
you know. So I think that the salons have changed because they had to change with the time. So the laws are totally different with the stations now than it was when I first started 24 years ago.
Okay.
And unfortunately, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, and they're closing left and right. So you
Yeah.
see them all over the place. Salon Solo, Phoenix salons and stuff like that. They're all suites.
Yeah. So you just can't decide today you want to own your own salon, come up with a name without going to the Secretary of State to ascertain if
Yeah.
it's available. And then all of a sudden you're doing weaves and curls and cuts
Yeah.
next day. There's a process that a
Yes.
person must go through and a lot of information they must gather. You mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, Beth, that your husband was instrumental in helping you get acclimated and up to speed. How
Yes.
how so?
Well, my husband, he has, this is funny, met him in 90, and he was going through a divorce, and his ex-wife is a hairstylist. So he's also one of the people in my ear, yo, let's do a salon. We could do this. I'm almost like, I help out. So he was like really, really big part of it with the support. So worked at the federal prison, and he said, yo, I have a plan. We're going to do this real estate. We also have real estate, 13 properties. So we're going to do this salon thing while he worked at the federal prison. And he was the one that made sure that all of my ducks were in order. Like, we knew that we needed to make a certain amount of money from each chair. We knew that we had to stay on this plan with, okay, the first 3 years, I didn't get a paycheck. I banked everything. When I started my business, I only started with 10,000. Everything
Repeat
I
that
bought
again. And I
in,
apologize for interrupting you, but you said you didn't get a what?
I didn't get a loan,
No paycheck, right?
no paycheck for 3 years, you know, for 3 years, I didn't get a paycheck.
I
I
needed
didn't
you to
need,
say that for the people in the back that didn't hear you,
oh,
because a
yeah,
lot of
no money for three years, not even a bonus, you know? So he held me down,
okay,
you know, say, we're not
that's
going to do
awesome.
this. And I mean, and we went up and down to 3 stylists to 2 stylists, you know? And he worked for the Federal Prison Bureau in Fort Dix. That's where I met him. And he's like, yo, I work at the jail, but I don't want to go to jail. So we made sure everything was in order. And he's an Aquarius, he's an entrepreneur, and everything, that's one thing that everything is in order. And he said, we stick to this plan, and trust me, the payoff is going to be, you know, where we wanted to be. And everything worked out perfect, you know.
Absolutely love that.
I think everybody needs that support. It's complicated because now you're not only have businesses together, you also live together, you know, and that makes things a little complicated. So we have a very good balance in all of that, you
And
know.
this wonderful gentleman's name is Bernard, correct?
Yeah, Bernard Grant, yeah.
So I haven't had an opportunity to meet Mr. Grant in person, but
Yeah.
I do follow him because we're connected on social media through
Yes.
my long-standing friendship with you. So
Yeah.
I know a little bit about him and his success. You mentioned that he got you into the real estate arena as well.
Yes.
How did that dynamic work? Because you're now not only as a family, as a partnership, a unified team
Yeah.
focused on the beauty salon, you also have your real estate business here, and then
Yeah.
still that family dynamic that you mentioned 15
Yeah.
minutes ago. So how did you all juggle that? And what are some of the things that you two did to make it work?
Every year, that's what we're preparing now. I close my business every year for vacation. The 4th of July, every year we close. We've been doing that for 24 years. We also do date nights on Friday, you know. Also, we learn how to, when you come home, whatever happened outside, which is hard, especially with men. I think he has more of a problem with that than me, that, yo, what happened in the salon, stay in the salon. What happened in the property, stays at the property,
That sounds like
you
me.
know? And then you have to take consideration that he leaves a federal prison, working with men all day, to coming in at 4, working with females, because we had a perfect balance. I'd open up and he would close. He does the hiring and the firing, and he does the maintenance on the salon, you know. And then my job is to make sure that the staff is taken care of and the clients are taken care of, and everything passes. If state boards come knocking on the door on any day, my doors are open. There's nothing to hide. That was my responsibility. So we stayed in our own lane. We trust each other and respect each other enough that you had this, then that was your responsibility. I know that you were going to take care of that, you know? And then you also have to take care of yourself. I love getting my nails done. I go roller skating on Mondays still. Been doing that forever. You still have to have your time, you
I
know?
love that.
You know, and then your family will come in, because in your family and I have no children. My husband has 2 kids, grown men, and your family comes in and out of that. So you kind of have to have that balance with them, you know?
And it sounds like you two communicate effectively. And that's what's key.
Yes.
When I coach
Ooh.
entrepreneurs who are a team, a partnership, meaning they're married, one of the
Yeah.
biggest issues that they normally have prior to going through my coaching and development is their inability to communicate effectively
Yeah.
and have that balance. So what are some of the things that you two did to make sure that communication was really key?
And you know what? On one of your podcasts, I remember, or something that you had posted that I just wanted to scream. You were so on point about communication and how the communication you were giving even me, because it's not easy. You have communicating period with your spouse is hard. Then communicating on a level where I went to school for this, because you married two women with cosmetology license does not make you a cosmetologist. So, and he's a man, he's like, yo, this is this and this. And I'm like, I wasn't raised that way where you could tell me anything and it'll fly. I was coming back. So I had to learn that, hey, sometimes his mother taught me this.
Okay.
Sometimes if you know you right, just don't say nothing.
Great advice. Great advice. But see
you
now,
know?
again, I've known you since about the fourth grade, so I know you're a very confident person, confident woman who I'm quite sure push back sometimes. So how do
Yes.
you find that balance of being, that person who was confident, who spoke their mind, but still wanted to meet him halfway?
Yes. And I also, a lot of people think that you're passive or you're letting things, especially because a woman, we still have them things where my husband's from the South, where women are to be seen and not heard, where he still thinks that mentality. And I know that he doesn't know any better. So I clearly, we sit down. What I love that we do is we
But keep in
respect
mind
each
that
other.
he's not here to defend himself. So I'm going to defend him on his behalf. Now I'm quite sure it's not as bad as you just made it seem, right?
Yeah. He had to learn. I had to learn from him too, because you can't have, and it's just being real, you can't be that all the time. And there's certain time and place for that. And I respect him enough to know that, hey, when you come through the door, I'm not on him like, yo, this, and this happened, loading him up with stuff. I give him his minute to wind down, and I'll say, hey, this is an issue. I always come when I have a problem, is a thing in me. I always come with a solution. And I have ways where I don't need to have what I need right now, when I know and trust that later on I will have it. Like, I don't need his response to be what I want it to be. I respect him as a man that, hey, like, look, this is how I feel. And then I say, hey, this is how I feel. We can agree to disagree, or you can keep, have a little attitude for a little bit. And I have my little attitude for a while. I'm going to hold it for a while. But I love the fact that we both let it go. We say what we have to say and we let it go. And, he learned a lot from my father, because his father and mother dynamics are totally different than, my mother and father. My father cooked. His dad never cooked. His mother does all the cooking, and I met him and I didn't expect him to be cooking like my father, because I enjoy cooking. But, I opened up that door where now I cook all the time, and he's retired. My husband retired at 50, he's 57 now. And he still hasn't picked up that habit of cooking like most retired men do, So I think that we approach each other try to do with as much respect, and you have to listen. If I'm always talking, I can't listen. And if he's always talking, he ain't listening. So, that's how we roll.
That's awesome. And I must say that I have great admiration for your family, your two sisters, your
Yeah.
younger brother, and tremendous respect for
Yeah.
your father. And I know
Yeah.
he's passed away, and
Yes.
I won't get you mushy on this
Yes.
podcast today, but I love the fact that as a man and father to women, very, very,
Yes.
because I am a girl dad as well. that he instills some of those values in you
Yes.
that you pass on to your partner, that being Bernard. But
Yes.
tremendous respect for your father. So that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes. And my dad used to always say girls are special. He never hushed us, you know. I don't know what's going on with this new generation, but the confidence level that these young ladies are having, I think, on how to respect yourself, respect your body. And it's important to have a relationship with these young ladies. I remember my dad used to take us to the hairdressers. You know, my mom worked. He was the one that dropped us off and picked us up. And I remember, and I see it all the time now, when little girls get their hair done, their father says, "Oh, look at my princess." Whole attitude change. They're flipping, and it just like, and I always go back to my childhood. My father said that all the time to us. We were beautiful, we were strong, we were smart, you know, and we were tough. We were out there playing with the boys, softball, baseball, like you could do anything. And I think that's coming from a strong father, and you are. I see you with your girls, and it's beautiful. Your mother and father were great parents, and I admired how, you know, you guys, they raised you guys very well. All those times from the I remember coming from the bus stop, you and Blocker taking me, walking me halfway home, just gentlemen. You know, my brother said, "What's up?"
There you go. There you go.
You
And
know,
I miss my parents dearly. I know you miss your
yes,
parents dearly. Your mother was wonderful as well.
yes,
And that leads
yes,
me to this question. So you had this wonderful mother, the father
mhm,
who cooked. It forces me to reflect on my time with my daughters as a girl dad when they were a little younger. They're
yes.
21 and 14 now, but there was a time when I had to take the responsibility of doing their hair prior to taking them to daycare. And one day, the daycare teachers, they were laughing with my ex, letting her know that they could tell when it was my responsibility. I tried to slick it back in a ponytail.
Ponytail,
Yeah, it just didn't work.
ponytail sitting
It
over
looked
here.
good for about 2 minutes. I would
Yeah,
spray
now
them,
see,
spray their face, their neck, their shirt. So, as someone who's an owner of a beauty salon, what advice can you give to girl dads out there who own that responsibility of having to take care of their daughter's hair when they're too young to do it themselves, or the mother is working like your wonderful mother did at times?
yeah. You are funny because back when you had your kids when they were younger, that situation, you could have Googled it, YouTube it, and they would have showed you about 20 videos on how to do a ponytail for your child. But now I think that what you should have did back then was take it to the salon. Take her
I
to
was
the
budget conscious.
salon.
I was budget conscious. I'm that type of
Take her
person. I
to the
try to do
salon
it,
and
do it
get it
myself.
done.
That type of thing.
But I think that you just do the best you can because they don't care. My dad, if your dad did your hair, as long as your daddy put that time in with you, the girls could care less, you know, what it looked like. As long as you were participating and helping out with doing their hair, I think that made them happy. And who cares what the daycare people said. But I think that a lot of times it depends on your pocket. You know, you have to learn how to sit her down, and just like you do your boys, you sit them down and you say, "Hey, we're gonna do this on Sundays or Saturday nights, whatever day they feel comfortable," and have a routine. Brush it, comb it, and do the best you can. Because I can't tell you how to comb and they hollering and screaming, and you guys are soft. You know, you don't want to hear your babies crying.
Great
So, you know,
start.
so you get it together and then you take them somewhere and get it done.
Yeah.
But right now, when I have gentlemen that come in or women that come in, and right now it's a lot of people adopting kids, I always we provide a little 15-minute, 20-minute refresh course on how to do a basic ponytail. There's 3 styles that we'll show you how to do. One is the high ponytail, a low ponytail, and a side ponytail.
Yeah, I
and
tried to
how
do
to
the
use the
high. It
instrument.
ended up being the side ponytail, so it
Yeah.
wasn't done purposely.
I think the side ponytail is the best ponytail.
Okay.
So we do, and my husband is great with that. He sell you products for everything. Curly hair, straight hair, your
Now,
braids, everything.
with your salon, Beth, I know you all do hair in
Mhm.
different styles, and I've seen some of your amazing styles on your social media.
Yes.
Do you also sell products as well?
Yeah, we sell a couple of products. I usually reserve it for, I have a couple of, our salon is a Joyco salon, and Paul Mitchell. So I do have a couple of Paul Mitchell products, but I also do a couple of community pop-up shops. So I allow people to come and sell their products there, local vendors that come by and say, hey, I have this new product out for beards. My husband also, he helps out a lot. He does a lot of the kids cuts and stuff too.
Okay.
Um, the barbering part. So I have I try my best to keep it to a minimum because my space is way smaller than my other location.
Okay.
To things that I know that we need. And then I sell on the side like bobby pins and stuff for, like you said, people that come in who need help on styling their kids' hair and stuff. So I do provide beads and barrettes and stuff.
So I have another question for you because I'm trying to help everyone out with this episode. So for couples, I'm not saying this, but I heard a rumor that there are a lot of men out there who want their partner, significant other, to maintain, if you will. So, as a professional in the beauty space, what advice would you give to women as it relates to the frequency in which they should get their hair done?
Yes. You know what? A lot of times, and I don't know why, women are more persuaded to go to the salon for their husbands than for themselves. For instance, a lot of men come and get gift cards out to their wives for Mother's Day, and I never see their wives. And it's not like a lot of money. I mean, like a little bit of money, like $150. It's like, hey, my wife comes in. I'm like, okay, who's your wife? Because they want to know a roundabout. A lot of times they say, okay, just give me $150 gift card. And I never see their wives. And I think that you have to be in a headspace that, for one, I think that they're scared because of time,
Okay.
probably being scared of what their hair looks like
Mhm.
and being judged. So I always say go visit a salon and get to know someone, or if you see someone out and about and you say, hey, where you get your hair done? I get my hair done at Visions, or who's your stylist? And go to them and say, hey, I met this young lady. Try to kind of ease your way into it. And I then there's women that overdo it. I have clients that come every week. They don't even wash their hair, don't even own a comb. But I think that the women that don't feel comfortable. So figure out why you don't feel comfortable going, and keep buying gift cards. Eventually, thank God they don't expire. Should bring yourself in there,
And the most
especially around
important
Mother's
thing,
time,
I'm sorry,
especially Mother's Day. I think we sold like over $500 in gift cards.
that's
And my husband loves that because he knows that
nice, nice. And
two to
that's a
three.
whole
No,
nother topic, Mother's Day versus Father's Day. I want to
yes,
touch on that. But one of the things that you just mentioned was the importance of women doing it for themselves.
yes,
Self-care is really big. Work-life balance is huge in any environment, whether a small business or corporate America. That well-being is
yes.
important. As it relates to women doing it for themselves and taking care of themselves and self-care, what are some of the things that you've seen happen when those type of women who are focusing on themselves come in on a regular basis, as it relates to their mindset and
Yes.
their energy.
Yes. A lot of the women that come in and they're on the every week type of scheduling or appointments, I think it makes them feel good. The shampoo is therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the special occasions like Christmas, Mother's Day only clients that come and they say, oh, I'm gonna come back, but I can't, I got kids and other responsibilities. But the best I think that I could describe is when the elderly come. And I've done that for maybe 15 years. When I first opened my business, I would go into senior care centers and offer my services to the seniors, women, men. And that was rewarding because no matter how you're feeling on the inside, and some of them had physical issues, talking, stroke victims and stuff like that. When they got their hair done, totally different attitude, and you feel good. If you look good, you feel good, and it's true. I think that's your best rewards right there, and you can see that you've done your job. Where someone has probably lost a child or a mother, and they have to get their hair done for a funeral. You know that if your hair, if you feel good, if you look good, you feel good.
I love that.
No matter what you're going through, and your hands are powerful, touching people all day. So it's therapy. I think a lot of time the word I would use is therapy.
Okay. And that's really important because there's so many people out there that they do for others. I know so
Yeah.
many women who are amazing, but they do so much for others and they don't really focus on themselves. And not just from a beauty perspective, just the overall well-being.
Yeah.
And seeing that up front and witnessing that every day, I'm quite sure is gratifying for you because knowing
Yes.
you, I know it's just not about the money. Being
No.
a business owner in a beauty business has really impacted you as it relates to how you make others feel. I've seen videos
Yes.
on social media where in this particular case, it was older women coming in for a makeover and the transformation and
Yes.
seeing that done, how they felt getting out
Yeah.
of that chair, made me, choke up a little bit. So talk
Yeah.
about that, just some
I think
stories that you may have that.
giving back, I think, is the best part, especially if you're a giver. I realize at this age that giving is a gift. You get more rewards from giving than getting. And we also have a program. It's with Twin Oaks. We got a lot of programs. I didn't realize it, but we have the young girls that come in from the schools. These girls are transitioning to out of their parents' house into maybe like a girls' home.
Okay.
Maybe they had parents' issues, grandmother issues, or just unwanted kids. So we were considered a safe haven salon. Ever since Corona, they no longer do it. So we have the young girls come in while they're finding a school to get them in. So like the couple of young girls, because of my location, we're in Hainesport. Twin Oaks is a girls' home. So I usually get the girls, instead of them sitting at the home, they can come in the salon and volunteer until they're registered to go to school. A lot of times they're 9th, 10th, and 11th and 12th graders. And they're funny because I have nieces and stuff, but it's a different type of kids that come in because one, a lot of them are appreciative to whatever. We do their hair for them.
Okay.
Then we go and we pick out clothes for them. A lot of the young ladies that work, my staff, they buy them clothes and stuff like that. But we didn't know the rules and regulations. So I had these two young girls from Trenton, New Jersey, and they said, Miss Bev, we want to go to McDonald's. I'm like, yeah, here's $10. You go to McDonald's. I didn't see them girls. This was about 10 o'clock. I didn't see them girls until about 3 o'clock. So the young lady, so they're instructor, we're calling my receptionist like, Beth, I don't think we should have done that. I think that they should not have left. And I was like, oh, it's no problem. They'll be back. So the social worker comes and picks them up. Well, I don't know. I sent them to McDonald's like maybe in the morning and afternoon. We were extremely busy. So they end up finding the girls, and now we have rules where they can't leave the salon.
Breaking
And
all kind of rules, state rules, local
exactly
rules.
right. I like we're not allowed to give them money, but that was a little interesting with that. Now my husband's like, now we're concerned. Now we have, as we move along and we try to help out with little local communities, centers and stuff, that we realize that's a lot of giving that you need to be giving out. So we try to do our best with that. But that was one of the stories that was a little bit awkward to say.
That is interesting, and I love how you are giving back and how Bernard is giving back, because it's important. Social responsibility is something that people
Yeah.
think about naturally when they're looking at becoming an entrepreneur. They're focused on how can I make money, or how can I do something that I'm passionate about, maybe because they were laid off or they were disenchanted with their career. But there's so many other aspects of business ownership and entrepreneurship that
Yes.
give a person gratification, like the gratification that you and Bernard received by giving back to those young women. I applaud you both for that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I also wanted to ask you a question. How did you get into this?
So now you're the first person to ever ask me a question on my own podcast. So I should have expected that.
Oh, because I'm like I've been watching you for a while, and you seem to be, this is your piece. And you're good at it,
Thank you. Thank you. Well, one of the things that is interesting about me, Beth, is I've always been of the entrepreneurial mindset. I've had an entrepreneurial spirit ever since high school.
Yeah, me
So I knew
too.
I wanted to be a business owner. Now, this podcast thing was out of my comfort zone, but
Yes.
with posting short videos, 30-second, 60-second videos on social media, and a
Yes.
couple of my followers said to me, you should start a podcast. But
Yes.
to be honest with you, it was probably the first thing in my life that I ever considered doing that I was uncomfortable with.
Yes.
Starting my business, being an executive coach, being a business coach, talking to people about business, how to inspire people and remain motivated and enhance their mindset, that came second nature. But starting a podcast, the
Yeah.
uncomfortability level was because I didn't know how to go about starting it. Like you mentioned, when you were looking at starting your beauty salon, you had to enhance your business acumen, you had to research and do the due diligence that was necessary for you to understand all the things that went into starting that type of business. So for me, one of the things I quickly realized, Beth, is it's just not all about picking up a microphone and
No.
going and having
No.
guests and talking about what you know. I
Yes.
had to figure out all the equipment that I needed. And that
Yes.
took, I would say, 6 weeks perusing content online, Googling, as you mentioned. I
Yeah.
went to other people's podcasts to see how they
Wow.
did their lighting. The first podcast I ever did, it was like, you couldn't even see me. You could only see my teeth and this bald head because it was so dark. So I had to improve my lighting. Then I had to figure out what was the appropriate microphone to purchase. I think the microphone that I purchased is a Shure microphone that cost
Yes.
$275. All of these costs that I didn't realize was associated with starting a podcast. But I tell you what I did do right. After getting over the apprehension of starting a podcast and putting myself out there on this type of level, I did all the due diligence first.
Yes.
And I spent hours researching, just as if I was starting a business, to really ascertain not only the equipment that I needed, what were the best practices, how people were successful, set my expectations as it related to the growth of the podcast and how to monetize it, knowing that you just can't do it overnight like you see on social media. We talked about
Yes.
social media, how
It's
people
a big
are
misconception. Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
It's-
And I know that you're not like one of them. I think your challenge would be one, holding someone, a conversation with someone for 45 minutes or more. I think that is challenging. And two, it's a lot of in your face type of thing. And I know from being Aquarius, I like to sit in the back, and I'm not for all that attention, because even now it's complicated where everybody's like, she's the owner, she's the owner. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I never want to be, I'm like, these are my co-workers, these are my employees, like they're owners. They're the owners too. I never wanted to be in that in your face type of person. And I know that you were like that too, even with football. You weren't like rowdy, and it's all about you. Every time I remember watching you when you're going through your journey, how humble you've always been. And I think that that's always been in you, you know?
well, thank you. Well, I'm an Aquarius as well. So,
Yeah.
but think about it. One of the reasons I was really excited to get you on this episode is because you have, in my opinion, an amazing personality. You've always had an outgoing
Yes.
personality, and
Yeah.
you make people around you smile. And
Yeah.
I'm the type of person, I love smiling. Any video you
Yep.
see on social media, my podcast episodes, I'm going to be smiling. So
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I thought about having you as a guest, I knew it was going to
Yes.
be awesome. And
Yes.
here's the key. And this is what I learned, not from the research that I conducted to develop my podcast. This is just from business and what I coach people on as a business coach and executive coach. Whether you're in a meeting with one person or multiple people, you have to be authentic, one,
Yes.
and conversational. No one
Yeah.
wants to see a keynote speaker get up there and not tell stories. So storytelling is important,
Yeah.
and not make a connection with their audience. And what I learned from looking at some of the people who had great podcasts, wow, this is a lot similar to what I coach people on as it relates to
Exactly.
being an
Right.
entrepreneur and networking. And you got to be conversational, whether you're
Yes.
conducting and hosting a podcast, or you're the owner of a successful beauty salon like yourself,
Yeah.
you have a real estate endeavor like Bernard, you must be able to hold conversations with people.
Yes. And you know, you're so right, because he can talk. Okay. He can talk your ear off. Like that's what he does. He does.
Now, one of the biggest challenges that I had to
Woo!
overcome, I like to talk too much. So I'm like Bernard, and you
Yeah.
have to be concise, but more importantly, you have to realize and understand and appreciate that it's your guest who's the focus.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's not you.
That's
You're
the
the
key.
host, but the focus is on your guest. So
Yes.
I ask questions and I may interject here and there, but the
Yeah.
conversation should be dominated by your guest. So I'm
Yes.
going to pivot back to you before you ask
Okay.
me another question.
All right. I got you.
Because you're the subject matter expert. You're my guest. So I want everyone to know how great you are, because I already know it. But
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier something about women. So I'm going to flip it. What
Okay.
advice would you give to men? And I don't know, do you all do men's hair in your salon? So what advice would you give to men? Because we hold a responsibility to keep ourselves up as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes. I think that what I'm trying to understand the question, you're saying like so far as
As it
them getting
relates
their hair
to
done,
our
their hair.
upkeep and
Yes.
some of the things that we can do to make sure that we're groomed appropriately.
I totally get it. I think that
So
like I be committed, you know. It always goes back to a routine. Have a routine that every Monday or Tuesday, whatever day it is, to get your nails done, your pedicures once a year. It's another thing about self-care. and the time to do it. A lot of times now is cool because when you're booking appointments, you can add on add-ons, they call it. So not just get a haircut, you can get a scalp treatment, you can get a mask on your face, a shave, anything, I think. And you don't have to do it all at once. Say, okay, let me see what you offer. At our salon, we do the steam towel, we do the steam conditioner. A lot of times they love it. The couples, we do couples days where the couples can come and get their hair done. I have a barber who can take care of the gentleman, and then we can do the female, or they can do whichever it suits you the best on what you want, and just stick to a routine,
Okay.
you know? And it's something you can do together.
I love that. I love it. There are a lot of men out there, because they are maybe overly masculine, they're apprehensive to get pedicures. So
Yes.
what are your thoughts about manis and petties, right?
Yes. Now the men paint their fingernails. I don't understand that. At my salon, we only offer conditioner services and haircut services, not so much manis and petties. But my husband is metrosexual. So like right now, every holiday, well, not every holiday, I consider a vacation a holiday. So every vacation, he gets his pedicure and his manicure done. And through the year, I kind of prep the feet because his manicurist is my manicurist. So I was like, look, girl, I'm gonna help you out a little bit along the way with the military feet. But I think that if you do it once a year, that's good. If you can get it done every 3 months, that's even better. You have to, I think men have to take the time out for themselves. And it's so different now where everybody offers them services, even now with just the male cruise salons where it's just men only. If you're a little bit scared of being in a with all of that going on, they have things that accommodate you, I think, where everybody should be able to get the type of service that they want. Because right now everybody's trying to cater to everything and anything. You can get a glue in for a man. If you don't have hair, we can give you hair.
I am not touching that one. I'm gonna stay away. I am going to stay in my lane, and that's something that I've seen on social media. I'm not with that. I'm not with that. But
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. They accommodate anything and anyone.
you know,
Okay.
now don't get me wrong. I've seen a lot of bald head men get those hair plants, and they look really great afterwards.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
that's a lot of work. But more importantly, is the glue that they're putting on those men's head safe?
Yes. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
No.
I think, we were talking about the mani pedi thing. For me, I love getting manicures. I
Yeah.
haven't in a long time, but even yesterday I was thinking, okay, I need to start going back and
Yeah.
getting my manis, because
Yes.
when I am in a business setting, a lot of times I am writing in front of my clients, or I am in front of a few prospects at a boardroom table. And the last thing I want to do is plop my hands on the table and I'm cutting people across the room because
Exactly.
my
And you know
fingernails.
what? A lot of times men that are in that type of workplace where they have to dress up or they have to look a certain way, or their teachers, their professors, they have to make they want to look good from head to toe, from the shoes to their nails, to even sometimes they do coloring on their hair and stuff like that, because unfortunately it's all about how you look, that first impression.
Right.
you know if you were my financial advisor, I would want to look at you like that's someone that I can get some advice from, and I can respect your advice. Until it has to do more with your education too, but a lot of times it's how you look too. If I have a lot more respect for you if you are put together and well manicured and and looking like, you're about your business.
Like,
Because I don't
you care
know if
about
you don't,
yourself. Because if you don't show
I,
that you care about yourself, why should women think you care about them?
exactly, exactly.
And
And you
that's
don't have to
for
be,
men. And I'm sorry, Beth. That's for men who are blue collar workers, white
yes,
collar workers. It doesn't matter. We
yes,
need to make sure that we take care of ourselves first and
exactly,
foremost. But if you are on the dating scene or if you have a partner who's taking care of themselves,
yes,
reciprocity, make sure that
yeah,
you're putting something on the table that's presentable as well, right? So get your nails done, men, get your feet done, make sure you
yes,
move
please,
well, correct?
yes, yes. I think that is good advice for today. If you don't get nothing else, make
I
sure you
mean,
take care of your
my
feet.
subscribers may go down, excuse me, but hopefully I made a good point.
Yeah, you did. You made a great point. You saying what everybody thinking.
There you go. Hey,
Without hurting anybody's feelings, is that's all you have to do is you're informing people.
you got to be authentic. So,
Yes,
Beth, think about yourself at age 21, and I knew you when you were 21. What
yes.
advice would you give the 21-year-old Beth?
Oh, wow. I would have hmm, slow down, slow down, and you don't have time. You think you have time, but you don't have time. And also take care of that body you have. When I first started doing hair, I always liked older people. I always gravitated toward older, mature people. And I remember ladies stopping me saying that take care of the body you have now while you're young, because you're going to pay for it when you get older. So you have to practice how you sit, practice how you stand. And I've always seemed to say, dang, I'm glad I did that when I was in my 20s, because now, it's not perfect, but it's not as bad as it could have been, because I have never been in the hospital. I'm healthy, no medication, nothing. So it's a blessing. But that's what I would tell my younger self, that take care of your body, and you don't have time. These young kids think they have time, and time is nothing. Time is nothing, you know?
Another question I have for you. You and Bernard have created an amazing business, and you talked about how you do it as a team. What advice could you leave the show with for couples who are in business together, who are in a relationship, whether they're married or not married, or they're just partners, that will help them when they're starting their business and when they're successful, to make sure that they're not forgetting the fact that they're supposed to go on those date nights, like you mentioned,
Yeah,
and they're really keeping the fire going in their relationship with
yeah.
all the ebbs and flows that you face as a business owner.
I think you have to, like I've been saying through the whole thing, you have to have balance and that respect, and you have to know that you can't change anyone but yourself. I can't change him. It's that he is who he is. He's responsible for what he says and what he does. And I'm responsible for what I say and what I do. And when you're in this business together, you have to remember where you were before all of this, get that feeling back. Like we always joke around and we was like, today feels like a Rice Town day. Now, Ricetown Day is when he had an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment, about 5 people living there. And we would just close the door and it would just be us. It would be like a movie or whatever it was. So when we get a little stressed, just know that where you were and where you are now, and try to go back to where you were in the beginning. Because when you go back to where you were in the beginning, this little argument, this little situation doesn't seem so bad. So he's like, yo, today is a Ricetown day. Or I feel like, today's a Ricetown day. And we had a lot of stories there because we like I said, we've seen each other in our 20s, our 30s, our 40s. Now we're in our 50s. So, and it's totally different all the way down. So you have to remember the first 2 years, to ground you. It don't always work.
You know what? You're right. It doesn't always work. But one of the things that I've learned is that when you do it with a partner, and it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that you're in a committed relationship with, but if you have a partner, or more importantly, an accountability partner.
Yes.
It can help you tremendously. So I have my accountability partner. My accountability partner in Queen.
Yes, I do. And she's Aquarius.
Yes, and she gets her hair done every 2 weeks. She made me step my game up. That's why I'm asking you all these questions.
Yes.
I am so grateful for you coming on and sharing this episode with me. I was, as I mentioned to you, so excited because, again, someone that I've known from basically my entire life, and to watch you mature into this amazing woman, successful business person is really gratifying for me. And it's interesting that you mentioned your location and the look of it, because sometimes when I'm out there visiting my queen and I'm passing it on the right-hand side, I'll think about you. So I've thought about you so many times that I haven't even seen you because I passed your place of business. So congratulations on your success. And again,
you too.
For sharing your time.
Mutual. I'm so proud of you, Octavius. Great opportunity for me. Thank you.
Well, you tell Bernard I said hello. Tell him I had his back the entire episode.
Yeah, I will.
And I want to ride in that Bentley as well.
Oh, okay. He just switched up. He got a Rolls Royce now.
I want to ride in that.
Okay. I got you. Beth, tell my girl what's up. My birthday girl, I said, what's up?
I will tell her tonight that you said hello. She was excited that you're being on the episode as well. So thank you so much. And for anyone who had an opportunity to listen or watch this podcast episode, again, Beth Singletary is the owner of Visions Hair Salon in Hainesport, New Jersey. You can find her on social media. She is amazing, but more importantly, you're not going to just walk out of her salon with a new do. So go get your hair did, but when you meet her and you feel her energy, you're going to walk out a better person, because she is an amazing person. So I love you, my friend. And
we love you. Take care. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, brother.
So for everyone, please hit like and subscribe to this podcast episode. I am bringing on more exciting guests like Beth, so you all don't have to listen to me every week.